Hey guys, Strong Style Studios back here again. It's Alex,
Justin the Orange Dream.
and we are doing something a little special here. Typically, I do my top 10 favorite movies of the year, but because of my illustrious friend here, who is a avid movie lover as myself, we decided we would tag team this thing.
Yeah, we're going to double up on the movie knowledge here.
Yeah, right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to list off our favorite movies of the year. Now, granted, this is not the best movies of the year. This is our opinion. You are entitled to your opinion. If you agree, disagree, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you want to cover some honorable mentions first?
Yeah, I've got a few honorable mentions. This was 2012 was an interesting year because there wasn't a lot of huge standout, like, obviously best. There's a few, but like there's a lot of movies that are around the same quality.
Yeah,
so some of these honorable mentions were close.
Yeah. I'll say right now, this year, a lot better than last year. Last year's movies were horrible. This year, I could have made a top 20 list.
Towards the end of the year, it started getting, like,
Ridiculous.
a lot of the year, yeah. So it started getting, then a lot of the best movies came out, and then I was like, I always hate that, because all the best movies come out at the same time, and then I got to catch up on all these movies.
Crazy. Okay.
Alright, so my honorable mentions include, I had several, so I'm just going to list them. Looper, which very nearly made the list.
That was very close to my list as well.
Wreck-It Ralph, which I thought was the best animated film of the year.
It was. That was almost on my list as well.
Yeah, should have won the Oscar in my opinion.
Should have won, definitely. I saw Brave, it was not that good.
The Avengers, which was...
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just... The only reason I didn't include it, it was just so well done, but there's only... so good it could have been.
Okay.
The point wasn't to make like a great movie, just to be as entertaining as
It
possible.
was a popcorn movie.
Right. I have The Hobbit, which was a great just achievement.
Yep. Actually, that's the first Lord of the Rings movie to not win an Oscar. So.
Well, yeah, it had great visual effects.
Yeah, way too much CGI, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not as good as Lord of the Rings, but...
I don't know, but it's still a great movie. I can't wait for the second one.
Yeah. I have Seven Psychopaths, which is a very underrated, kind of underappreciated film that not a lot of people are talking about, but it's a very unique movie. It's mismarketed. That's probably one of the reasons it's not the kind of movie you'd expect. Check it out. And then I have End of Watch, which is it's a cop drama, and like it's kind of formulaic, but it's just very well acted. Jake Gyllenhaal is very good.
I have not seen that either.
Peña's very good in it. So.
Okay. I had a few other ones too. Ted was probably one of the funniest movies this year, I think.
Yes.
Great movie. Very visual effects too. That and the animation of that teddy bear was
good
awesome.
music.
Yeah, great music too. But one of the best cameos of the year too, with the guy from Flash Gordon on that was awesome. Hunger Games I really liked a lot. I thought that was great. I know you had your problems with it.
Well, I liked it. It just wasn't one of my favorites.
Okay. The Amazing Spider-Man. I love that movie. I thought that was probably like probably the second best Spider-Man movie ever. Obviously number 2 I think is probably the best. And also a movie that nobody talked about, which came out early this year and no one remembered, The Grey with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that came out at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah,
so that's probably why a lot of people forget. But
that should have came out. That should have been nominated for like some Oscars, because I think Liam Neeson could have got a Best Acting nod for that one. That was a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Liam Neeson is he's so natural in the role, people forget that he's just Liam Neeson.
He's just a natural badass. Yeah, like those were some great. Oh, and also Skyfall was on my list of honorable mentions. Didn't put on my list. Close though.
All right. So,
and a few other ones, but I know they're on your list. So okay, let's get going.
All right, let's just begin with number 10.
Number 10. Go ahead.
My number 10 is Les Mis, which you don't see a lot of musicals anymore. I thought this was very well done. They did an interesting thing with this movie. I don't know if you heard about it, that they did the singing live on the set.
I did hear about that.
It worked really well, which is a very difficult thing to do. So lots of great actors in this movie. The music is, of course, classic. Very well. They did it justice. My only problem is they had to, since the stage play and the book have so much material, they had to cut a lot out for the movie. So some of the character arcs were shortened or rushed a little bit. But otherwise, great movie. Yeah.
That's on my list to see. I need to watch it with my girlfriend. She wants to see that movie. My number 10 was Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is a movie that like really slipped underneath the radar for me, because like I heard about it, but like I was really mismarketed, because I thought it was about Emma Watts. I thought Emma Watts was the main character. Turns out this was a very good movie. Probably the best high school drama movie I've seen in years. I mean, this was so good. I just thought the plot was great. The acting was great. Emma Watts in this movie is amazing, as are the two.
Showed her range very well.
Very well. I think she definitely proved to people that she's not going to be stuck in that role of being the Hermione Granger for the rest of her career. Also, the two lead guys with her, I can't remember their names.
Logan Lerman and Ezra Miller.
Yes, both of them, great. Especially Logan. He was amazing. I thought he was funny as hell. Great movie. Definitely one to check out. I mean, this is, also a great soundtrack in this one.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and move to number 9, because that's my number 9 is your number 10, Perks of Being a Wallflower. I didn't know I'd heard about this because the book came out. I didn't know anything about it, and it was kind of like I thought it was just kind of like one of those emo teen movies. But then it's like this really well acted, well written movie. Just really exceed my expectations. I kind of just watched it, on a whim, and then it turned out to be something I really got into and enjoyed.
One thing I loved was like when like the supposed like when you think it's like the ending and everything's all hunky dory, like it takes a really dark turn.
Yeah,
it's like I like that because like it's like it's like. Yeah, he's happy, but there's still that part of his life that he has to deal with. And, like I love that. I thought that was so like ballsy of them, like just to be show real issues that people have to deal with.
The characters felt very real.
Yeah,
to me too.
And I love the dialogue too. Great dialogue.
Okay, so that was my number 9. So you can give your number 9 now.
My number 9 is Life of Pi. I just fell in love with this movie. I knew I was in love with this movie the second I saw the trailer. Just visually a beautiful movie. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Acting wise is great. I love the two actors who play the teenage Pi, who we see for most of the movie, and the adult Pi is kind of the narrator. Both of them very, very good. Just gorgeous movie. The special effects are amazing. Very well deserved to win the best visual effects and best choreography.
Best director as well.
Best director as well, yes. But I'll say this right now. I have never felt so emotionally attached to a CGI tiger in my life. I was near tears watching this movie for some scenes.
Well, again, this is going to flow well, because my number 8 is Life of Pi, so we can keep talking about the same movie. But this movie it's just such an achievement because it's so hard to make this right, because like the material, a lot of people when they read the book they said it couldn't be made into a movie just because it's so hard to translate, and it's like not a whole lot happens. A lot is just like it's a lot of these just little moments, and it's like it's him and a tiger, and it's like, but you feel for this tiger. It's like the tiger has its own character.
Like
and it's like
the spots that really got to me was one like when he's like when the tiger jumps out the boat for the first time and like swimming and like he looks at him like those eyes just like you're like heartbroken for poor Richard Parker the tiger, which the greatest name for a tiger ever.
They actually named it. It's funny.
Yeah, and also the part like where like they are both like starving like and he like holds his head and like he's petting it for the first time and like now it's like. And then the ending where he says, he's like talks about saying goodbye to things and like not saying goodbye. Just oh my god, it rips your heart apart, man. Yeah. It is a very, very touching movie. Great movie though.
And it makes you think, but doesn't. The unique thing is it doesn't draw conclusions for you. You get your own thing out of it.
Like it can be a spiritual thing. It can be like an elaborate story, and like I just love that. And like I love the ending where like he says oh well, it's your story now. You can tell it as like he tells the writer who's writing about him. It's like, oh, well, which is the true story? Like, well, that's for you to decide. It's your story now. I like that a lot because that's really true of anything, All
right, so that was my number 8. So
my number 8 is Lincoln. I thought this movie was fantastic when I first saw it. For me personally, though, I think this is one of those movies that the acting is just so amazing. Daniel Day-Lewis, absolutely phenomenal. Well-deserved Best Actor nomination. Win, actually, sorry.
Yep.
Sally Field, amazing. Tommy Lee Jones, amazing. The entire cast is just so stacked. It is a true dream cast. I mean, my problem with this movie though wasn't anything about the movie. It's just there's just so much information here, so much. Yeah. It's so big and grand, and there's so much to do. This movie, they should have just made it an HBO miniseries. I mean, if this was an HBO miniseries like Band of Brothers was or The Pacific, it would have been amazing. Just way too much information and way too much you can go into, and didn't take the time and effort to do it. Great movie though, but man, the potential for this movie was it was.
I forgot to put this on my honorable mentions when to go there.
Oh wow!
Did not make my top 10. But that was one of my problems. Like you said, is like a lot of the dialogue is just informational. Yeah. It's just like didn't seem natural because they had to give you all this information.
This is definitely one that like this could have been like a stage. A play, right? Because like just the amount of dialogue.
Not a lot of camera movements, all like in a
a lot of monologues,
But Danny Day-Lewis is as good as advertised. Deserved the Oscar. The acting carried this movie.
Yeah, his stories were great. Like his stories as Lincoln were so great, and just I loved it. I loved watching him on screen. He was amazing.
You just forget that he's even. He's like, well, Abraham Lincoln's really good in this movie.
I'll tell you what, man. Daniel Day-Lewis, for him being British, he can play an American great.
Yeah, you completely forget that he's. You hear him talking to the Oscars, like, wait,
who is this man?
Yeah. All right, my number 7, Beasts of the Southern Wild. This is another movie I did not have any expectations going into. This blew me away. It's just such a little movie, small budget, no name actors, no director hadn't done anything much previously. It's just like, it's such a unique movie. It's kind of like has a lot of elements of fantasy. The main actress, I do not know how to pronounce her name for the life of me. She got
She's in Wallace or something like that.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know.
Whatever.
She got a best actress nomination.
One of the most adorable little girls I've ever seen.
One of the best child performances of all time.
She's fantastic.
And the relationship with her and her father, I was just so drawn in by it. It's very dramatic, and it's also a very beautiful film to look at. Yeah, it's a nice little gem of a movie that I didn't know much about.
I would love to see the behind the scenes on how they filmed that movie, because it was a really... That was on my honorable mentions.
Yeah, it was cheaply made, but it didn't look like... It looked so good.
Yeah. My only problem I had with that movie was, like, it's like, the story with the little girl and her dad were great, but, like, the whole beast thing or whatever, like, with, like, the mythical creatures or whatever, like, that whole story just went out of the movie, and no one would have missed it, I think.
Or they could have done more, like...
It felt like a pointless thing.
Yeah.
Okay, my number... Are we on 7 or 6?
7.
No, 6, I think. Yeah, 6, because I went first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my number 6 is Zero Dark 30. This is by Catherine Bigelow. Her...
Oh, no, you skipped.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ,
skipped
man.
one, yeah.
Oh my God, man, we're so professional here. All right, my number 6... Is it 6 or 7? I don't fucking know. 7, whatever.
You're number 7.
Yeah, my number 7. Jesus Christ, man, this is so professional.
Math is hard.
Yeah, math is hard. My number 7 is Argo, the best picture of the year. I like this movie a lot. I thought it was great, and it deserves that best picture award. But my problem with it was, first and foremost, Ben Affleck is great as a director, but his acting, not so great. He's better at directing than he is acting.
For sure.
Yeah, but Alan Arkin, John Goodman, those 3 guys together were great. I love the moments leading up to, like, the moment when he heads over. Like, those were great. Like, the whole, like, the building the scheme of this fake movie, and that was great. But I hated the hostages. I absolutely hated those characters. I don't know what it was. I did not care about them in the least bit. It was very Hollywoodized too, like, because they had to have a big chase scene at the end to make the drama. But really, it was pretty dramatic. Like, when he's just in line, like, waiting for the passport to clear, and it's like that was fucking.
They did do a good job of like just making you, like, on the edge of your seat.
Oh yeah,
you do really want them to escape at the end, just because it's like the worst imaginable situation.
Oh man, it is great. Like, the tension was great, but like I said, I was more interested in the parts of, like, building up to going over to Rand than the parts of actually being in a Rand.
Right.
So and I hated the hostages too.
Yeah, I'll talk more about this movie later.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert there.
Yeah.
But my number 6 is Skyfall. I am a huge James Bond fan, and I had unreasonably high expectations for this movie. But this movie delivered on my expectations. This is just it's a completely different kind of Bond movie. It's because the Daniel Craig movies have gone a little grittier, a little darker. More intense, maybe. This movie had more drama than your average James Bond movie, more character driven.
Yeah.
So it still had the action, but the action wasn't the main point. This developed the character of James Bond more than, like, any other James Bond movie.
I liked that a lot. I thought
like, the relationship between him and M was just great.
Yeah.
A lot of great. Like, the new Q's great. Ray Fiennes is a supporting actor. Javier Bardem steals every scene he's ever been in his life.
Javier Bardem can never go back to being a hero again. He's born to be a villain.
Yeah, he's just so, like, great as being a villain, but, like, he's so enjoyable.
Yeah, he's like Hannibal Lecter. Like, he's charming yet scary as hell.
The first time he comes on screen, I was just glued to it. And he comes on, he gives this, like, long monologue, and you're just glued to, like, oh my God, he's just such a great actor.
Right now though, like, the one thing I didn't like about it was, like, I thought the finale felt like an R-rated version of Home Alone or something like that. Like, it was just weird. It didn't feel James Bond-esque.
Yeah, that would be my only complaint, was that it wasn't quite Bondish enough in some ways. It didn't have the traditional Bond girl, didn't have maybe they'll do more of that in the next movie, because they need to probably lighten the next movie up.
But great movie.
Great movie. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Okay, now my number 6, spoiler, or you already probably know, it's Zero Dark 30, Catherine Bigelow's movie, after Hurt Locker, which was one of my favorite movies when it came out.
That was my favorite movie of that year that it came out.
This movie was great too. This one, a lot like Argo, like, it was about a real life event, but this one was a good job because it didn't focus on one character. What was the actress name?
Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain. Like, it's kind of her movie, but, like, at the same time, it jumps around. It goes to her boss at first, like the guy Dan, right?
Are you talking about the guy who's torturing people?
Dan. Yeah, Dan, which was really cool. And then it goes back to Jessica. Then it goes to her friend who's trying to get this one doctor to interview him and like help him out, and then it goes over to the guys like tracking down this one dude, and they find the Bin Laden compound, and then it switches back to Jessica, then it switches to the Navy SEAL. So they did a really good job of jumping around and showing really the full scale of this operation, which I really liked. And great movie, very, very nicely done. Obviously, there's a little bit of controversy about whether it's completely factual, all of it, you know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great, and the last 30 minutes of this movie, holy shit, man, that was
the raid is just
is one of the best action scenes I've seen in like 20, 30 years. Like it's one of the best films put the movies in a long time, because you are solidly staring at the screen, and like every little creak and crack, you are like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? You know.
Yeah. This was one of the movies that didn't make my list, but like I did enjoy it. I just thought like it was a little dry in the middle portions. Like the raid was really good. The beginning, like the torture scenes were obviously unpleasant to watch, but that went more in depth about like the psychology of torturing somebody, and like it went into the ethics of torturing somebody, and it was just really interesting. And it didn't shove its point of view down your throat. Like it was successful. You're still wondering, is it worth it? You know. And
I like the kind of guys like the guy doesn't like enjoy it, just like he just does it for.
I want to see more of the SEAL team and like Joel Edgerton and those guys.
Oh, also one thing I gotta say. Another thing I didn't like about it is like you were like thrown in here and you were given like names, information, and like you're like, what the fuck's going on? Like eventually it's like, okay, I recognize this name, I recognize this place. Okay, you start getting along eventually, but like you are thrown right in the middle of the story and you were expected to catch up fast.
Yeah, you're not on the level Hurt Locker, but good.
Oh yeah, definitely great follow up to Hurt Locker.
Okay, my number 5. And some of these are getting close in quality here. Once we get to the top 5 here, all great movies.
Yeah.
Silver Linings Playbook had, in my opinion, some of the best acting of the year. Like Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence totally deserved it. These characters seemed like they're really quirky and funny to watch, but they're so believable too.
They seem like real people you know in your life.
Then you have Robert De Niro supporting, and
finally seeing De Niro in a good movie again.
Even had Chris Tucker in a good supporting.
Chris Tucker was great. I mean, Chris Tucker was awesome.
Like everyone who was acting in this movie, the acting was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Story was it was an interesting take on a familiar formula. It's kind of like a romantic comedy, but it feels a lot more real.
Yeah.
And it's not cheesy or anything like that. I just thought Jennifer Lawrence just blew me away.
Yeah, she was great. This is my number 5 as well. It well deserved. Probably like it was a great acting movie. Like Bradley Cooper, he blew me away with how good of an actor he was. Like I mean, the scene like where he's like a breakdown almost. Like all of his family members are like. That was a great scene.
The scene where he hears the song.
Oh my god, that's
so great! And such great acting.
The diner scene with Jennifer Lawrence was great too. I love that scene. But one thing I love of this movie was like it had a great message too. Like it's like it was a good love story too. But like the message of like how everyone in the movie kind of has their little issues. Like the dad is like OCD about things. The mom's a passive aggressive person. His one friend who's married has like kind of like anger issues. Like he has like he goes outside and like he like like I go in the garage and like listen to heavy metal and it just breaks like you need to get some help for that, man.
Yeah, everyone has their little
I think it's really great because like that's kind of like how life is. Everyone has their little issues, but just like you gotta make the best of it. And like I thought that was great, and yeah, you hit it down the hand with like one of the best acted movies of this year.
And also another thing about Bradley Cooper's performance, he's playing a guy who's bipolar, so it goes between being like just a nice male guy to being enraged, and he has to just go between these extremes, but it never feels unnatural.
It never feels. It feels totally just believable the whole time that he's on screen.
It was great to see Robert De Niro in a great movie again, having a great role he can sink his teeth into. Yeah. One of my favorite actors ever. So
definitely one of the best.
Okay, now my number 4, I know this is going to be on your list.
Yes, it is.
The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, this trilogy has got to be, in my opinion, the greatest superhero trilogy of all time. It's just such a great story, such a great way to complete the arc of Batman. This one delved more into the character of Batman. Had more about his relationship with Alfred. Alfred played a more pivotal role, and Michael Caine's I love Michael Caine. He's one of my favorite actors. And these movies have like such great Morgan Freeman and the story was really great. Like this whole thing of him having to be able to be afraid of death, and the whole thing where he's in the pit. I'm sure everyone who's watching this knows what I'm talking about. And again, like Skyfall, it's kind of a different kind of Batman movie because it's got good action, but it's mostly a character-driven story, and it's
Okay.
It's a good way to end the trilogy.
Yeah. My number 4 is a very underrated movie, I think, in my opinion. Moonrise Kingdom by Wes Anderson. I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. I love his movies. I think he's got a very unique style. He does very good like dark humor. I think he does dark humor very well. I think.
Yeah, it's kinda,
this movie just like it is just so quirky and so funny. Like I watched the movie 3 times, and every time I laugh at the same stuff because it's just so funny.
And it's got a lot of little moments.
Yeah,
in
just
it too.
you know, like there's this one moment like I still laugh my ass off is when Ed Norton finds out that the kid Sam Shakusky is missing. And he just like looks like Jiminy Cricket. He flew the coop. It's like I can't help but laugh. And like the kids walking with the weapons. Just there are so many just funny little bits and pieces.
And you never know what's gonna happen next because it's like this movie's crazy and like they just.
Yeah.
Completely ridiculous.
It goes from very, very down to earth to like a little over the top.
Something just completely ridiculous happening out of nowhere, and you never know what's going to happen next.
Man. And just great acted, like Ed Norton's in it, Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, yeah.
Bill Murray, Frances McDowell.
Bill Murray was
hilarious.
So funny.
Yeah. And the 2 kids, I can't remember their names, but the Sam Shakusky and what was the girl's name in the movie? What was her name? Whatever. Both of them were very good. I love their scenes together. And very cool music, too. I like the music.
It was actually kind of, at some points, kind of daring material.
Yeah, it was ballsy, yeah. But a great movie and definitely worth seeing.
It pushed the envelope without being, like, exploitative.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
And which is a very, very funny movie.
And, you know, kid actors are so hard to find, really good ones. These kid actors were great.
He was great. You know, he was... the kid Sam had a scene with Bruce Willis where like he was holding his own against Bruce Willis acting wise. I thought that's impressive.
Okay, now getting my number 3, which you mentioned earlier, is Argo, which won Best Picture. I thought it was a good choice for Best Picture. Wasn't my absolute favorite movie of the year, obviously number 3, but this was I just thought this was really well made. It was very realistic, very intense. Had a lot of good, like you said, Ben Affleck's not the greatest lead character in this movie, not the most interesting. But the side characters are like John Goodman and Alan Arkin, so entertaining.
John Goodman was probably the best like bit side character this year. Like his role in this movie and in Flight, he deserved. Like,
when is John Goodman going to win his makeup Oscar for
God,
Lebowski?
he deserves. There you go. He deserves that one.
Jeff Bridges got his. Now we need John Goodman.
John Goodman is probably one of the best like side characters you could ever have in a movie. Yeah. Every movie should have John Goodman in it.
Yeah, he was in The Artist as well, so he's been in 2 straight Best Picture winners.
Yeah, but I don't know. You need John Goodman's voice though.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so those are my number 3.
My number 3 is The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight is probably my all-time favorite superhero movie.
Yeah, mine as well.
It's a masterpiece. This movie did a very good job of following up though. Like he said, very character-driven. Like looking inside of Bruce Wayne's, like how like he's kind of like become obsessed with being Batman and he doesn't have anything left in his life. He feels like he has nothing left in life but being Batman. And very good job. I wish the Michael Caine thing. He had a great scene with Michael Caine, but I wish they hadn't have like had him in that scene and then just like the rest of the movie he's gone. I was really disappointed by that.
Yeah.
Love Bane. Tom Hardy did an amazing job as Bane. I mean, you take a character that was like really ruined by the Joel Schumacher version of Batman.
Made a caricature of the character.
Yes. Yeah. And he brought this character and made him like one of the most intimidating, threatening characters ever. Catwoman was great in this movie by Anne Hathaway.
Oh yeah,
she was great, man. She was awesome, and like I love the fact that, like she was a cat burglar, and like they didn't name her Catwoman. She was just a cat burglar, and like that was like really clever. And
I loved her cockiness too.
Yeah. I got to talk about the fight scene. The fight scene between Bruce Wayne or Batman and Bane, the first one where Batman is injured. Awesome fight scene. I mean, I loved it. I just love the fact there's like no music. It was just like them. You just see the grunts and groans of these two guys.
You're actually
fighting.
Scared for Batman. Yeah. It's halfway through the movie. You're scared for Batman.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I thought this movie did a great job of like just showing like how a mastermind like Bane can be and like how threatening it was. And I thought it was a very good adaptation of the famous Nightfall comic book series that that's based on with like the whole Batman getting his back broken. Just really great movie. And also the ending, picture perfect. It's exactly how I wanted to end. I loved it. I thought it was great. Definitely a great way to end the Christopher Nolan saga of Batman. Yep. Great movie.
All right, my number 2 is one you mentioned, so I won't go into it too much, but Moonrise Kingdom. This was my favorite movie until I saw the number 1 movie on my list. But Moonrise Kingdom is such a unique film. I thought it was Wes Anderson's best movie. which is saying a lot. 'Cause
That's
he did the
saying a
Royal
lot.
Tenenbaums and Rushmore and a lot of other
Darjeeling Limited. That's
yeah,
a
a lot
movie.
of other great movies. But like, I just thought this was his style at his best. I feel like he's perfected his style, unique style of filmmaking, and just it's a movie that's so funny, and it actually is kind of emotionally affecting. I was invested in the characters, and it's just
you really care about these two like kids who are in love. It's like you really want these characters to be happy.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Oh, it's
definitely one of the best
movie.
movies of the year. All right.
My number 2 is The Avengers. I thought that for a movie that had so much buildup, like you had 5 movies.
Almost impossible expectations.
Almost impossible. Iron Man 2, Captain America, Incredible Hulk, Thor, all of them good movies. And so like to bring all these characters together, it's just like it seemed impossible. And it was a new director, a guy who'd barely done any directing in his life. He was the director of Firefly, I believe. Or was it Firefly, I believe?
Joss Whedon, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it was like ballsy as hell. And it was a success. It was a massive success. Because I felt, like watching the movie, like, it's like every single character felt like the character from their respected movie just brought together. Iron Man and Tony Stark felt like Tony Stark. Thor felt like Thor. Captain America felt like Captain America. Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
The best Hulk.
Ever put to film.
Better than Edward Norton, which
better than Edward Norton. Much better than
Eric Bana.
Yeah.
He was kind of in a bad situation that movie, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, but man, he was amazing. The Hulk became like my new favorite member of the Avengers almost. He was amazing in this movie.
What's funny is like they spent like these 2 whole movies trying to get more inside the Hulk's head. And the Avengers did more with a little screen time to get into the Hulk's character.
15 minutes, just like him referring to the Hulk as the other guy.
This was the first time I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, and the guy, the villain, I can't remember what his name is, but the guy who plays Loki was great.
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, yes. The side characters, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. She was great. I thought she actually felt like more like a badass in this movie. Samuel L. Jackson, always amazing. I mean, he's Samuel motherfucking Jackson. He's great.
Always entertaining, even if he's in the worst movies.
I thought Jeremy Renner got the short end of the stick because like he's a Hawkeye, kind of got no build up, but hopefully for the next
more
one.
in the sequel.
Yeah, hopefully. But and I love these characters just talking together. Like their dialogue scenes were so great, especially when Tony Stark's talking with Bruce Banner. I mean, those are great scenes and just so many great fight scenes. I mean, the one between Iron Man and Thor was really cool, really short scene. But like the final action sequences, Michael Bay can eat shit because this is the greatest like superhero crazy action scene I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, the end scene
and it is just. It is
the last
so
like half hour or so just.
Oh my god, man! It's crazy, man. That is like one of the like craziest scenes ever. And just I was loving every second of that scene. It was amazing, and I cannot wait to see where they go with the characters now that they've hit in this movie. And this like I'm super excited for like the whole Avengers saga. So great movie.
All right. Number 1 we both have together.
We both have number 1. 1, 2, 3. Django Unchained. I wish we had that sound bit of like from the song Django. Just I wish we could have rigged that up.
This movie was awesome.
Let me say right now, we both have a man crush on Quentin Tarantino.
He can basically do it. Like honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm too big of a fan of his, and I go to his movies like looking for things like he can do wrong, but there's just so little there to complain.
There's
about,
only one thing I can complain about this movie, and I'll get to that later after we praise it for the masterpiece it is.
The best movie of the year.
The best movie of the year. This is my favorite movie of the year, and if anyone disagrees with me, too bad. I mean, this movie was.
We will fight.
I saw this movie, and instantly, as soon as I walked out of the theater, I'm like, I want to go see it again. As soon as I walked out of the theater, I was like, I gotta go see this again. It was amazing. I laughed my ass off the first time I saw this. It was just so entertaining. Jamie Foxx, great job in this movie. I do think he got outshined a lot by just the supporting cast. Christoph Waltz, Academy Award winner for the second time, thanks to Tarantino. Tarantino, please write a movie with Christoph Waltz as the lead to get him a lead acting an Oscar.
Yeah. He was an unknown actor before Tarantino got a hold of him too.
He's amazing, man.
He gets the most. Tarantino, maybe as much as any other director, gets the most out of his actors.
Christoph Waltz, I don't know what it is. I don't know if Tarantino just knows how to write for him, or if Christoph Waltz just knows how to bring Tarantino's words to life, or both. These guys are just born to work together. Amazing scene. I loved him on camera. He was just so funny and entertaining. And like the little like twirl of his mustache he do was great. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, awesome.
How did he not get an Oscar nomination?
Right. Total departure from anything else he's ever done.
He was a great villain in this movie.
Yeah.
And the scene where he just like talks about the human brain, and he's talking about like talking down to everyone and like he's making the threats. Amazing scene, amazing. Like the fact that like, he like was bleeding from his hand, like it didn't stop acting for a second.
Yeah.
Just man, he was amazing.
And I think Samuel L. Jackson's performance has to be.
Oh my god, he was.
There's so many great performances. Like I thought he should have gotten a nomination.
Oh, no kidding.
Personally, because but then again, if everyone who deserved a nomination got one.
Right now, let's be honest though. Samuel Jackson was just acting like Samuel Jackson. He was just saying fucking like.
But what they did that was unusual was like Samuel Jackson a lot of times plays this very like proud like pro-black characters.
Yeah.
This one he was playing a black character who was very like he was very loyal.
He was the head slave of. Yeah, and he's actually kind of the real villain of the movie.
Yeah, really. He's playing like an Uncle Tom character, which is the opposite of what he normally plays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Tarantino like can see these little things and cast against type and find these actors you wouldn't think would be good in certain roles.
Amazing.
And just, yeah.
Also, like all the side characters, like the guy who played the one plantation owner, Big Daddy or whatever. He was funny as hell.
Oh, Don Johnson from
Jonah Hill was in this movie. He was great. I was right now. Tarantino gave to us the funniest scene involving the KKK ever. I was laughing my ass off during that scene.
Yeah.
That is the funniest thing ever. Great over-the-top action scenes like Tarantino does, like we've seen in Kill Bill. Just amazing writing, too. The writing was so great in this movie. Music, I love the soundtrack. Soundtrack is one of
my favorite parts of the movie is, I don't know if you remember this part, but Jim Croce's song starts playing, I Got a Name, and it's just like the scene where they're like riding the horses and the mountains in the background.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful
it's great.
scene.
Yeah.
It's like...
And I love the scene, and like the only problem I had was Kerry Washington, who plays Django's wife, Brunhilde. I thought she didn't get any screen time, and like I really wanted to see her what she could do, and like I wish they had done like maybe like a scene like a flashback of like when her and Django met or something. They could have done a lot more because like she didn't really do anything in the movie.
Yeah, her character basically existed as a plot device.
Yeah, that really sucked.
To drive the action along, but
and like there's a lot of people like talking like how like it was drawn from like spaghetti westerns, and like it's also got a little bit like a bit of a modern twist on a German folktale of Brunhilde and Siegfried.
Yeah.
But just Tarantino's he is just so good at making homages to like so many great movies.
That's why his movies are homages.
Homage, sorry.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
But like that's why his movies are so endlessly rewatchable because you notice these little references. Like the more movies you watch, the more you notice in Tarantino's movies because he has so many references, and just like. He makes movies for people who really love movies.
Yeah, this is a great popcorn movie. But like, if you're like a really guy who likes to look in depth and like look at like the background themes, you can find a lot of stuff in here. I mean,
if you want to become a great filmmaker, he's probably one of the guys you should seek out first.
Tarantino can do no wrong. I've never seen a bad Tarantino movie in my life, and this is well deserving of being.
He has such huge expectations, and with each movie, he does something kind of different. And even the two Kill Bill movies are different from each other.
One's a samurai movie, one's a western.
Yeah.
All right, we're starting to ramble a lot about Tarantino.
We love him.
We'll have to do another movie where we just praise Tarantino. But that's it for now, guys. Thank you for joining us on our top 10 favorite movies of the year. Justin, thank you for joining me.
Yes. Good talk, my friend.
All right, make sure you guys subscribe to Strong Style Studios on our YouTube and all that. And take care, guys. Bye.